Welcome to Still Plays Galaxy of Heroes. This is a roster update video, and we don't got a lot of time, and I am very busy. So here are our basic topics: marquees and major unlocks, progress towards our major projects, looking at any Datacron, Omicron related things, of which some are related but overlap, and then addressing weaknesses, looking forward to the next raid, and then ships or pilots if they happen to be. Right now, I don't think that's going to happen in this video. Recent weeks have been filled up by a lot of big moves: Bo-Katan, Darth Bane, Lord Vader. So this week is going to be much more of a maintenance phase, looking towards those marquees that we're farming, taking some of those recent characters either up to relics or up to higher relics so that we can get some stronger, more useful use out of these unlocks. And the most notable one of those is Bo-Katan Mandalore. We did our week of Gear 11 testing. It was useful. She did help out a lot, but she could be helping out a lot more with that Datacron. And so we got 2 more weeks of being able to utilize that Datacron, so we're going to take her up to Relic 5 right away. We've been allocating all this gear now for weeks. I'll show you the context for the gear in a moment, but right now we're just going to gear her up, make sure that we can utilize that Datacron, and give ourselves another major weapon in our grand arenas. But just for Relic 5. We'll take her up higher, definitely, but incremental levels of utility. That's what we're about. That's what we're trying to determine, and it's how I like to play. I like to do more with less, even though CG finds ways to reduce my ability to play like that as the months and years go on. They do not like the way I like to play. But there we go, Relic 5, that will be very useful next week. Same deal with Darth Bane. We've been doing some Relic 5 testing. Relic 5, he's been fantastic. With the Datacron and everything, that beats Lord Vader, it beats Jabba. What I can't do though, at least in a reliable fashion, is take down Leia's. We will go up to Relic 8, but I don't really want to go too high right now because I've got limited resources. So we're going to do Relic 7 for this week. That's hopefully enough to take down Leia with the Cron. Without the Cron, probably not going to cut it, but this is... he's been great without. I was not hurting by having him at Relic 5, but I could have been doing a whole lot more where I could have separated my Sith Eternal Emperor and Bane at least more successfully, if not more regularly. With all of those changes that we've had with the recent weeks, finishing off a lot of those projects, we've had to overhaul the spreadsheet. Some general things, like we've got Gungans working towards Jar Jar. This is what I need here. You can see a lot more blue than in some past weeks. We got major projects. This used to be this column over here. This is like the Darth Bane gear, the Queen Amidala gear, all of that. Those high-end goal characters, their gear was in this column. I've moved it over here now, partly because those are more relevant and going to be much more of a common occurrence with changes to my roster over the next week. So it's gear that I want to be factoring in. These relics column, this is more of luxuries. Some of those we are going to do today though. And then here I have the next goal. Now it's not going to be Galactic Legend Ray, but I did put GL Ray gear. This is what I need to get GL Ray in the column as a placeholder. And it's a lot. And it's part of the reason why I'm using that and not SLKR. And it is to give myself some tangible numbers to work with as we wait for the next Galactic Legend, because that's the actual goal. I'm going to just be hoarding towards a GL, and that way when the next GL comes, hopefully I'm ready in terms of gear. But you can see, like, there's a lot. We need a lot of carbonate circuit boards. We need the bronze wiring. We need a whole ton of Cairo prods. And one of the things I talk about from time to time is a shorthand way to think about this stuff is you need double the Cairo prods that you need of Cairo computers. I almost don't buy Cairo computers just because the amount of time it takes to purchase and collect all of the Cairo prods you need, you'll practically collect all the Cairo computers you need passively. Now that is much more in terms of a big goal like going after a Galactic Legend. For some shorter term goals like going after an individual character, that's not going to apply. That's going to be case by case. But with a big goal like this, that does make clear the magnitude of difference that we're seeing. Also, I just need just a crazy amount of fusion furnaces furnaces. But the nice thing here is that even though I've added a whole new GL here with a character that I do not have a lot of relics already on the Resistance faction, I'm not that far off. Like, these are all blue. Like, red is for something that I need 300 and up of. And then we can see like magenta or purple for some of these materials that I need some crazy high amounts of. But for all these Gear 12 plus pieces, other than fusion furnaces, we're all in blue. So these are some smaller numbers that I will easily accomplish these counts, and that will hopefully give me a decent head start on whatever that next GL turns out to be. Right now we have 2 active farms, Boss Nass and STAP. STAP we are almost done with, despite the terrible drops that I feel like I've been getting today. Today I got 5 shards so far, which is unacceptable for refreshing 3 times. But in general, I've probably been getting about 9 to 10 shards, 9 to 11 shards a day. I think I'm doing okay. We'll be done in less than a week. Probably by the time that we do this video next, we'll be done farming this guy. And then, of course, the current major project is Jar Jar. We are going to go after this guy in a free-to-play rhythm, and we'll get him fairly soon, hopefully by the next time he shows up. I'm a little surprised that CG is making his cadence that more standard 3-month cadence, only because of the raid. Because they're effectively locking a guild into lower raid performance for an extended period of time if you don't have your guild members taking this seriously. Like, all players need to be going after Gungans right now. It doesn't matter if you're in a young account. It's just critical. All future performance is going to be related to Jar Jar. And it's pretty clear that the remainder of the year he's going to be affecting Conquest, be affecting Raid, be affecting Galactic Challenges. There's just going to be so many reasons to make sure that you are taking this faction seriously. Otherwise, you might regret it. It's probably going to be worse than it was like with the Inquisitors, where players put off the Inquisitors, but then we saw the Scythe, we saw Grand Inquisitor, we saw Third Sister, and then everybody had to shift directions. One of the things that I'm always advocating here is go to where the ball is going, not where the ball is right now. So take this seriously. Go after the Gungans. And they should be all becoming farmable pretty quickly. I think maybe even this week with the addition of Jar Jar to the game, we'll probably see Tarpals become farmable. And then over the next couple weeks, we'll just see the rest of them. Probably along with Master Qui-Gon being added to the game. We've already made some Datacron related updates, Bo-Katan Mandalore being the biggest one, Bane technically being one, even though we could already use it. All these crons, though, we have had prior to this update. We have added a large depth of new mods, though, and I've gone for level 6, level 7 to get extra Jedi crons. I would like to get some extra Sith crons so that I have a little bit more flexibility, particularly in 3v3, but we had all these level 9 crons previously. I am, though, going to make one piece of gearing, a new relic related to crons, and that is going to be Imperial Probe Droid. Now, this one is very much a luxury. It's only going to have a temporary usage for Afra over the next couple weeks, the next 2 weeks of Grand Arena before that Datacron expires. But hopefully it gives me a nice boost to utility and maybe makes it a little bit more consistent to beat Lord Vader's while this Empire Cron is active. And he's a character I don't mind investing in because he is one of those exclusive characters. And we made a video about this a long time ago. I probably should make an update of it, looking at the characters who are guaranteed to be a future prerequisite for something. IPD was on that list. And he is one of the few characters that was on that list that is still not required for anything. So I expect that to end soon. So adding relics to a character like this, I don't really consider much of a risk. It's going to pay off at some point. Although taking him to Relic 5, that's a little bit more than I would prefer to do. But if I'm right about the future of the game, which so far I've been kind of wrong about, then future GLs, future big projects are all going to be higher relic. Now, with Leia, that proved not to be the case. With Leviathan, it did. And I think, CG is going to be forced to do it at some point. It's unsustainable to keep the game at this level. There's going to be very soon the next relic progression, because whales are getting caught up. So relic 5 are here. We'll see how that turns out. But hopefully it makes this next week of Grand Arena a little bit more fun and finds a way to boost my Afra a little bit. I think we're probably going to wrap it up here. I was considering addressing some weaknesses to the roster, like Treya in particular. Not having her at Relics has made some riskier counters just not work for me, because my Treya dies and then the Omicron gets shut down or partially shut down, and I no longer get the use that I would like out of that character. It makes like Seer Malikos counters not as consistent as I would like. Omicrons, I'm going to hold off on a little bit longer, and then we're just looking at some of these other characters, but for the moment, I think I'm going to wait. Yeah, I'm just going to... None of these are decisive enough, and really it's more I want to retain some of my resources. We're lower on signal data, we're lower on Kairos, we're still trying to rebuild those hordes. I think that is going to be more fruitful for me at this point. So a relatively shorter one, we're going to wrap it up here. Jar Jar's on his way. Hopefully I'm going to get that Jar Jar kit reveal video out, and it'll be right over here-ish. Well, this video will probably come out first, so maybe not. But we're going to wrap it up. Thank you for watching. Be excellent to each other, everybody. This is still Plays Galaxy of Heroes.